A month ago, I gave birth to this little guy, and when I was in the hospital for the week after, I had an experience with the endocrinologist who were on call that I think was very indicative of the problems in the healthcare system for people with type 1 diabetes. You didn't know during pregnancy your insulin needs double, even sometimes triple for people, but the second that you give birth, they are expected to plummet back to your original pre-pregnancy rates, but even sometimes a little less. And to illustrate how dramatic it is, during my pregnancy, I was taking at the end up to 40 units of background insulin, and then my endo had set settings in my pump to switch into after that were about 13 units of background insulin. Now, well, that was the plan because I had a very traumatic and stressful 42-hour labor and then also had to be on antibiotics and an IV drip for 3 or 4 days afterwards. I decided not to switch into that 13 unit setting and instead create a setting that was in between the 13 and the 40 units. And I was so happy I made that decision because I was 90% time in range that whole week in the hospital, barely any lows, barely any highs. But every day, I kid you not, the endocrinologist who was on call would come into my hospital room and adamantly tell me that I needed to switch into the 13 unit setting that my endo had created with me because your blood sugars will drop significantly after giving birth. I showed them the written logs that they were having me do, and I said, I understand that's what's supposed to happen and generally does. However, this is not what my body is doing right now, and if I do change to that 13 unit setting, my blood sugars will be in the 200s and 300s. So just know that textbook diabetes management exists because we need standards in place, but 9 out of 10 times knowing your body's patterns will always outperform. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I am curious to hear.